when I left Brisbane today, it was 27 degrees, so it's a little cooler here in beautiful Traralgon. But firstly, let me say congratulations to you guys for giving up your time and investing in yourselves to come to a coaching clinic such as this. And that's credit to each and every one of you for the passion that you put into the game, but importantly, the respect that you give your athletes because you're trying to get better. And ultimately, that's what coaching is all about, is helping our athletes be the best that they can be. And so well done. One of the things, like you, I've sat in many clinics, and for me, the biggest learning has always come outside of the clinic afterwards. When you sit with your fellow coaches and peers and talk about what just happened and the ideas and what you like and what you didn't like, and that was good and that was rubbish and that doesn't work with my team, but I might steal a little bit of that and change it around how to work with my group, all right? The other thing I want to say is just because I'm the head coach of the Boomers, it doesn't mean that what I say is right. It's just my opinion, okay? That's the beauty of the sport. There's no right and wrong. There's just all of us have opinions on how the game should be played. And then I guess the last thing on that is, as a coach, you need to ensure that whatever you're doing is relevant to the group that you're coaching, okay? And so the example of that, I was doing a clinic once, and it was back in the day when we used to run a back pick for a guy to come off and lob dunk, and someone wanted to see the play, and I'm there, I'm drawing, and someone in the crowd's drawing it madly. I'm like, who do you coach? What age group? I coach the under 10s. And it's like, well, sort of a lob play dunk probably isn't the one that you want to be writing down right now. Okay, so again, make sure whatever you do is relevant for you. Just before I finish up, I guess, on a coaching thing is, and I know I've only got 30 minutes here, and I've been given full court and half court defense in 25 minutes. Okay, fantastic, no worries. It's something we could spend a whole week on, but I'm supposed to sum it up in 25 minutes, so I'll take bits and pieces out of that. But just before I get to that, one of the things when I was really fortunate, when I got to the AIS for the first time, I got introduced to this whole new field of skill acquisition. And there are people who are skill acquisition experts. I never knew they existed. And there's a one at the AIS who I got friendly with, and we spent a lot of time. He likes basketball, and we spoke around a whole range of things. But one of the things that he kept challenging me with is, what you're doing, or does what you do at practice, is it relevant to the games? Does it translate? And if it doesn't, don't do it. Find something that is actually relevant to the games. And I guess one of his points is, so why do you guys practice on zero shooting? I don't know, that's just the way we've always done it, right? It's like, well, so when in a game, and I had a thing at Rocky last week and we did this, and I was being a bit of a smart aleck, and I got, here we go, we're going to go practice shooting. I got one kid to stand there, and we threw him the ball, and he took 10 shots from the, and they were like, all right, let's go, 5 on 5. Let's find him an open shot from the corner. Couldn't do it, right? And there's a whole thing around that we went through a whole lot of stuff and measured how many shots at the 2012 Olympics were uncontested. It was 15% of shots were uncontested, 85% of shots were contested. And so his thing to me was, when do you practice contested shooting? And so we've come up with a whole range of stuff, and Basketball Australia's got some stuff that we've developed on the back end of that. I'm supposed to be doing defense. I've sort of diverged a little bit. So I apologize for that. But the other thing that he showed me was about, and again, this is relevant to the age group that you're with. If, like, it's one of those bell curves, right? And if this axis is learning and this axis is difficulty of task, the challenge for us as coaches is to make our practice plans at the optimal learning level. And so examples of that are, we go tell Joe Ingles to go and make a left-hand layup. It's right down here. He knows how to do that. It's too easy for him. There's no learning. At the other end of the scale, we could also make it too difficult. We could say, all right, Joey, there's LeBron James, you know, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, pick them. There's 5 guys. You've got the ball. You've got to find a way to score at the rim on those 5 guys. Like, too hard. He can't find his way to a solution. And so, again, there's no learning. But finding that midpoint as a coach where you challenge your athletes enough through discovery that they can get to learning, but they can actually find they can find the outcome, they can find the learning. And so, you know, for some of it, whatever bit under 12s, it might be we play a game where you're only allowed to bounce it with your left hand, and that's enough of a challenge in this game. Or we're only allowed to pass with our left hand. Different things like that, but that's the skill of a coach, okay? And the other skill of a coach is getting the entire defensive system in 24 minutes.
Plus questions.
Plus questions, okay, no worries. So, let me start with this. When does defense start? When the game starts. Good answer. We've been on offense. When do we start playing defense? So, soon as you shot it. All right, so it starts with defensive transition. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through here. I'm not going to tell you what's right and wrong, so I just want to give you a couple of different things for you to think about and some things that might suit your group, okay? So there are different philosophies with defensive transition. So can I get, what have we got? We got 5 of each, blues and whites, maybe? So 5 blues up, and then you 3 whites, and then 2 other guys go white, please. All right. So we've got blue here. Let's say you've been in offense. Whites is on defense, and you're just about to go into offense, right? So blues, you get in some sort of offensive alignment here. All right. So, and don't worry, I'm not going to run you guys around. This is all talk and philosophy. So, blues shot it. So there's a couple of different scenarios now for defensive transition. Let's say it even goes through the net. Let's say we even get it in, which is one of the things that we're after is we need less shooters, we need more makers. All right, anyone can shoot. We need more people who get the ball in. Anyway, that's a little joke there, but you know, it's okay. It's bad when you've got to explain your own jokes, right? Hey, then you're not going so well. So there are different philosophies. So blue is now going into defensive transition, and you again need to decide what sort of team that you are and what you want to do. So some teams have a rule that who would consider 1, 2, and 3 here? 1, 2, and 3? Maybe? All right. That 1, 2, and 3 just always sprint back and just cover back. And let's call you a 4-man for now. And 4 and 5 have a chance to go to the glass. All right. We put more emphasis on just getting back and covering the basket than we do on offensive rebounds. If we can pick one up, we happen to pick one up. Okay? Then there's a whole philosophy that goes along with what happens when we get the ball in this scenario is generally, sorry, let's say that was missed. Generally, it is we've got to get the ball under control. So we normally have the closest man take the ball. And if that meant that that was kicked out here, then you might be the next closest man and you make sure that you've got the ball and you've got it under control and keep it in front of you. And that we have the basket covered. Then, again, in this sort of defensive scenario where you're just worried about getting the ball under control, we talk about loading up on the weak side of the floor. And what loading up would mean is that if you are now on the weak side, you must be at least level with the seam. Anybody would guard anybody in defensive transition, generally, in this scenario. You're not just running back and matching up with your own. So let's say he had the ball, he had that under control, and as we're sprinting back, the man who's got the basket is talking, make sure everybody's matched up. You'd have him, you'd have him, you'd have the guy running back there, but staying protecting the basket. The other thing generally with defensive transition is we try to encourage guys, obviously you can't get out sprint by the guy that you're matched up on, but once you get ahead of him, is to sit in and provide some support on the guy with the ball. We call this plugging the floor or narrowing the floor. So again, I'll just talk to you about concepts. I don't have time to give you a lot of detail. So just about concepts. So That's one way we can do defensive transition. Bring it on back. There's the extreme version of that, of when we shoot it, we're just terrified about the team running it down our throats, and we just go ahead and get all 5 guys back, and we all sit inside the 3-point line. And this is a little bit NBA-ish in mentality. All right, they've got all the analytics guys and all that sort of stuff, and some of the stuff that they come up with is that any numbers advantage for the offense, of course, any numbers advantage for the offense is the best thing. So, 2-on-1, 3-on-2 is the best offensive scenario you can get. So obviously you want to try to stop that on defensive scenario. The next best thing that you can get is anything that's not 5-on-5. So 3-on-3, 4-on-4, you score at a higher rate than 5-on-5. The next best thing offensively, is to have 5-on-5 with some sort of mismatch, where the 1 man's guarding the 4 man, say. So again, defensively, we're trying to stay out of all these things. And then the lowest scoring scenario is everyone's back in 5-on-5. So some teams defensively, on the shot, all they worry about, if you happen to be in there and you want to go, make a go at it, no worries. But otherwise, everyone runs back, get below the blue line, inside the 3-point line, and we let them come to us and we just stay matched up. That's another philosophy. Then some teams start getting a little bit more aggressive. Some teams might go, as the ball is shot, but 1, 2, and 3 are always going to the glass. The 1 man gets sort of here to the what we call the nail area. One of the guards gets the nail area and the other guy gets sort of to the center circle. And now we're starting to hedge our bets a little bit. All right? We want to try to get some offensive rebounds without giving up stuff going the other way. A little bit more aggressive. Sorry, let me cover one other thing, even for those teams that tend to get back. The corner shooter often, the guy in the corner often is a shot, even if you're a get-back team. Most teams these days will teach, as opposed to just getting back, you get back through the elbows to start clogging the floor, get in the way, and sometimes you just happen to get that one that bounces out to you. But a lot of teams teach back through elbows. Okay? Now, there's another one that is going on, and Cairns Taipans actually do this in the NBL. They call it tagging up. And it's interesting because it's not actually meant to get you more offensive rebounds, but it's a different way of playing defense, which some of the European teams are doing now as well. Okay, so on the shot, the philosophy is now, as soon as we shoot it, that the guy who's guarding me, I'm now guarding, and I'm keeping in front of me. So again, shot was going up, and if I'm you, all right, let me be you for a minute, and this guy's been guarding me, it's called a tag up. So now I start guarding him, and I'm going and I'm tagging him up and keeping him in front of me. Again, we're not really worried about offensive rebounds in tag ups. If we happen to bounce long, and you were tagging up with your guy, and it happened to bounce long and we're in a 50-50 contest and we can get it, fair enough, we get it. Otherwise, we're just playing defense. We're happy with that. Tough one out of the corners. Again, so if you're a corner guy here and he's been guarding you, on the shot, on the tag up, you have to come to the high side to make sure that he's in front of you. Okay? The philosophy of this being that we use the connectedness of the defender to slow the ball and give everybody time to get back. So the moment he turns around, he's got someone guarding him. So he can't just bust out. If you threw it here, firstly, because I've been tagged up, this guy can't be on the fly running at us because I'm right here. So he has to stop and go back for the ball. It comes out, whack, and I'm here, and that buys everybody time. Okay, so that's another philosophy. Generally, the back side of it still stays the same in terms of once it goes opposite you, then I start getting back here, narrowing the floor, plugging the floor, and we get it to one side of the floor. So that's tagging up, and some teams are going to that now. Like I say, internationally a lot more. If you watch your Cairns Taipans do it, they're pretty good at it. The one thing with this, of course, is if someone gets sprinted past, you're in a world of hurt. You got nothing back there to protect it. But sometimes you give up layups the other way as well. All right, so that's a quick little thing on D-trans. Then, I guess, if you start, combining that with some sort of full court defensive philosophy, there's, again, different things, and you need to determine what sort of team you want to be. Are you a slow it down team? Are you a pressure team? Are you a disruptive team? All right, so when I say slow it down, that would mold in, I guess, or mesh more with just getting everybody back, and we'll go back and we'll set our half-court defense and we'll be happy in that. That's sort of just a slow it down, keep it in front of us team. Then we'll go and I think everybody can sort of understand the concept of pressure defense without getting too involved in it, but let's just say, you had the ball out of bounds. It might be that we're a man-to-man team. We've got get a couple of guys out of here. Here, whack when it comes in, that we're looking to come and double team this straight away. Pressure, see if we can get a burp it up. We shoot a gap, we deny, and we take some risks. All right, I would call that a pressure defensive team. It can be out of man-to-man. It might be out of a 2-2-1 press. It might be out of a 1-2-2 press, but we're looking to trap and, force some passes out of a double team and shoot gaps and all that sort of stuff behind it. Okay, that would be pressure. For me, though, there's another area I think that gets lost a little bit, particularly in junior basketball, and that's the concept of being a disruptive defensive team as opposed to a pressure defensive team. Pressure, for me, stands for we're trying to steal it, or else sometimes we give up layups. Disruption, to me, means we're trying to be smart about being difficult to play against defensively. We're trying to take the offense out of the rhythm of what they're trying to do, and for those of you that play with shot clocks, utilise the shot clock to build the pressure more than the guys on the court to build the pressure. And what I mean by that is, so some different ways that you might want to be a disruptive defensive team. So let's say you got the ball out of bounds, we're matched up, and this is their one man, say. Okay? So it might be as simple as, if you got the guy out of bounds, you're going to go and face guard the one man, stop him from getting it in, stop him from getting the catch. We're happy for it to go anywhere else. We're not pressuring anything else. You're happy for him to catch it in front of you. It goes in here. He tells everybody that it's in. You go back to guarding yours, and you go back to trying to deny the one man the ball, and we make somebody else carry the ball up the floor. And we're happy with that. We're not trying to steal it. We're just taking a little bit of time off the clock, and as they get down the floor, then either one or two things happens. That now the guy who's normally the one man, who's setting up the play for, say, their best shooter come off a down screen, suddenly it's the best shooter setting it up for the one man to come off who's not good at that spot, and it's just disrupted them a little bit. That's all. It's just put different people in different positions than they're used to playing. The other thing that can happen is, come on down here, it happens a lot, jog it down, is someone who's not used to starting the offense has the ball about here, and then the point guard is so desperate that he'll come back and you give him a little handoff, whack, and then you run out of there, and there you go with him, and he's got it back here, and that's fine. But now you look up and there's 12 seconds left on the shot clock, and they don't have time to run their 20 seconds of offense and move the ball around. And often by the time everybody gets down there, it's like, oh, bugger it, let's run a middle on ball. Okay? And so that's another way that disruption works. You might want to be, in terms of a disruption team, let's say you set up in a little 1-2-2 zone. So whites are here going that way. Just give me one there, one there, one there, a couple of guys at the back. That's fine. So again, if you're a pressure team, you might think about it as it comes over, looking to blitz this or get after it, all right, double it, and then shoot gaps. But if we're a disruption team, it might just be So we sit in here soft. Don't allow him to pass it ahead, all right? Don't allow any kick aheads. No, we're happy for him to go side to side. We don't want him to go up and down the floor. We call this north-south. We call this east-west. We're happy for east-west passes. We don't want north-south passes. So we take away everything that is north-south, okay? And if they throw it there, whack, you sit in, just let him absorb it, let him come to you, maybe make a bit of a stand, see if you can let him throw back over there. Good. Once they get over the center line, you can fall back into a zone or you can fall back in the man-to-man. Again, we've used the clock. The other thing we might do as a disruptive defensive team is, if this is their dominant ball handler here, is once he throws off here against the press, that we might say, all right, that means we're here, we're just back, now we're denying back to the one man, puts everybody else in the man-to-man. Another way to get out of one man's hands. So, different ways to be disruptive, and you can be smart and creative with that stuff. Okay? The other thing we might do to be a disruptive defensive team is that we come down the floor, we give a, so let's say you're in reversal here, you're on offense, yep. So we're playing a team, that comes down, get your matchups, you're right. And so we're normally a team that sits in an open stance, and so this is, I guess, starting to lead on to the next bit, which is half-court defense. Again, are you a pressure team or are you a pack it in and keep it in front of your team? Okay? But we might be a team that normally packs it in and keeps people in front of us, but we're, as a scout, we're playing a team that always comes down and passes the ball from one, here through the top as a reversal, and onto here. So for this particular game, anytime it comes down, we're going to deny this and make him back cut. And he'll do it once, even twice. They'll get a back cut on you, they'll score one time out of that, but over the course of the game, that's not how they want to play. Right? This guy over here is used to getting touches, or this guy who normally features in the offense starts getting a little frustrated that he hasn't had a touch. It's not how he's used to the game unfolding for him. And so he starts sneaking out of the corners or yelling at his teammate or coming to get the ball earlier than he should. So disruption is about finding clever ways to be annoying to play against, really, and that's the challenge for you as the coach. All right, 7 minutes for half-court defense. All right, how am I going? Am I going all right? You understand it?
Of course.
Difference between disruption and pressure? Of course. What sort of team do you play in?
Pressure.
A pressure team? Yeah. Cool, no worries. You enjoy that?
Yes.
Good, excellent. So, just generally, I'll make this real short. And so, in terms of a half-court defensive team, again, you got various choices that you can have. All right. Now, so as a pressure defensive team, then what would your rules be in the half-court here? If you're pressuring, what are you doing on the ball? What's that? Yeah. How would you defend the ball? You up on it? And what would your teammates be doing off the ball? They'll be denying the wings. That's generally what, you know, pressure defensive teams are into, is denying passes, denying players that are one pass away, and trying to, you know, stop those catches, make them back cut, make them do something else. All right. If you're that sort of a team, you've got to be very well drilled that these off-ball guys that are two passes away, sitting in here on the basket in particular, and providing help on penetration. As you can see from these guys, if you're out denying that and you're out denying that, that leaves lots of driving opportunities for the guy on the ball. It means you've got to spend a lot of time on that, being very good at guarding the ball and what you are and aren't prepared to accept on that. And you've got to be very good at having help here. And on penetration, let's say there's penetration, you've got to be very good at drilling some sort of rotation situations on the back end of penetration. That's if you're a pressure defensive team. More and more now at the higher levels, you'll see teams going into being more containment defensive teams. All right, and what that looks like is now, let's say the ball is out there, we're not pressuring one pass away. We're sitting in an open stance and a little bit towards the ball to show this guy that he doesn't have driving lanes. He doesn't have the space that he had before to drive. And the interesting or intriguing thing about that it means the guy in the ball can actually put more pressure on than when you're a pressure team. Because he's got more support. He doesn't have to guard as wide an area. He doesn't have to be the best defensive player in Australia in order to keep the ball in front of him. Because he's got some help from his teammates standing there. So generally with me, I find if you're what you call a pressure team, which means you're denying lanes, the guy on the ball is actually a little softer because he's so worried about the guy getting by him. Whereas when you're a containment defensive team, the guy on the ball is actually a little bit more aggressive because he knows he's got so much more support. It also means those guys off the ball can sit a little bit more attached to their man because the help doesn't have to come as quickly if he gets blown by, because generally like it happens a little slower and it puts us in positions to deal with all sorts of screening actions and stuff on the weak side of the floor. So that's a containment defensive philosophy, and there's a whole system that it will take a day to teach about how this actually works, but just from a philosophical point of view, that's kind of where we're going on containment defense. Right? Okay. Then there's a whole series on pick and roll defense, how you guard the posts, how you guard pin downs, like there's all... At the end of the day, I think you're in a really good spot with your team if you can teach them some philosophies, and then it doesn't matter what offense we're guarding because the philosophies apply, because offenses have an on-ball screen, or they play off a post, or they play off a pin down, and so we don't have to scout the opposition's offense, we just know our philosophy. Oh, that's a pin down. Oh, that's an on-ball screen, that's how we guard that. Oh, that's a post-up, that's how we guard that. As opposed to, oh, they run this, and then there's a flex cut, and then there's a cross screen. That's fine, we've got cross screen rules. Or cross screen philosophies. So it doesn't matter when they run it, okay? Without going into all those things, what I will do now is, and I ran this in Rocky last week, and the coaches told me they liked it. And as Dino said, you always like to go away with something. And we got more than 3 basketballs. We got 5. Cool. When I ran this in Rocky last week, the feedback was afterwards that we're always having trouble getting players to talk. And what they liked about these 2 particular drills was that they thought that they got players talking. All right, so can I get, how many guys we got here? 10 and 1 young lady. Can you participate in this too? Awesome, thank you, 11. So let's get like 3 of you there. Let's get 2 of you maybe over here. Another 2 of you there. And what's the balance in the center circle, please? 3, 2, 2, 4. So one of the 4s go to a group of 2. No, you're right, only one, you're right, perfect. All right, so this is the drill. So you guys are out of bounds there, in a line, out of bounds, out of bounds. So whenever you catch a ball, you have to dribble into the D, right? Do you have any idea what the D is? The top of the key here. You have to get 2 feet in the D, but you have to dribble. And then you pass to a line, and then you're going to hit him on the chest, firstly, right? And then you're going to go to that line. Yep. Go ahead, you're on, go. And if you know somebody's name, you probably should start calling it out. Here we go. Nice, good, all right, hold up, good, I like it. So, good job, you guys did a really good job. Actually, the first group I've ever done this with where we hadn't had balls hitting the side wall. So nice job on the talk. Okay, same, oh, yeah. You got to communicate. Get back to your line. Same drill, all right, but now when you get in here, as soon as you get in here with 1 foot, you've got to take off, jump in the air and hit somebody. So you might want to get a little bit planned on get your eyes up on the way in. Go ahead, let's start with 2 balls. Here we go, go ahead. That's it, that's it. New ball. Take off, jump, jump, jump. That's it, that's it. Take off, that's it. Here we go, one more, that's it. Take off, back yourself. Oi, here you go. Hit a target. Cool. All right, hold up, hold up, hold up. You guys get the idea? And then just the last one. You guys are in a circle. Everyone get in a circle. In a circle. Hey, everyone, in a circle, in a circle. You guys can do this, I'm sure of it. All right, so you've been really good. So, the ball that you have now, you're going to start passing that to the person on your right. All right? So that, yep, keep going. That molten ball always goes to the person on your right. Wilson ball, sorry. The Wilson ball is always going to the person on your right. Okay? And when I call out go, you guys are going to move anywhere in the half court and keep passing that person. When this one comes in though, the molten ball goes to the person on your left. Does everyone understand? Here we go. Go, go, move around, stay in the half court, stay in the half court, move, move, move. Cut through, don't stay in the circle, cut, don't stay in the circle, move. Cut in somewhere else, don't stay in the circle, move around, don't go in the circle, go somewhere else. Here we go, new ball in, that one goes to your left, that's it. What is going on? All right, hold up. Stop, you guys get the idea. Right, and try to get them out of just running around the circle. They move around. And what would help this drill? Talk, you got help from the crowd, didn't you? Good job. All right, good job athletes, well done. Thank you, give them a hand.
I think we've run out.